My name is Alisha Wilson, and I am a teacher librarian at Booker T. Washington High School. And I'm really excited to share my story with you today at this conference. This year, I've had the incredible honor of School Library Journal naming me their Maker Hero for 2017. And Follett, who you just heard from Nancy, chose our Innovation Center program as the winner in the high school category for the Follett Challenge. But I want to add, like before I start, that no one goes to makerspace school. This conference is probably about as close as we can get. And before taking this job, I actually taught English for 5 years. And so I am by no means an expert, but I want to share with you some things that I have done that have worked well with my target area, which are teenagers. Okay, everybody still with me? Just making sure before I talk to myself for the next 30 minutes. All right, great. Okay, so when I first presented the idea to my students of taking this job, like I said, I was teaching high school English. The response was so negative. And my favorite comment is at the top of this slide here, and I got it from a student who works for me now. And she said, Ms. Wilson, librarians are so lame. And my students were genuinely outraged that I was thinking of leaving the classroom to take over our school library. And so realizing that the word library had such a negative connotation for my students prompted me to open up a discussion with them about what it is they didn't like and to start my changes there. And I'm not really going to focus on the makeover aspect of it. And you can see this was the day I got the keys, the picture there with the furniture everywhere and really all mixed match and nowhere to walk and not super vibrant, right? But I do want to tell you that because every popular area that's in our library now that I'm going to show you today used to have something else there. So it's important to make the space and of course to revive your space. So I'm going to focus now on the repurposing of the space. And you really want to ask yourself when you're looking at your space, how can this space best be used? And what is my purpose for this area? And so for me, it all started with a spark. My journey to starting a maker culture began because of an experience I had that year teaching 9th grade English. I had assigned a creative Greek mythology project, and I always provide supplies in my classroom. But one time I had a student ask me if he could borrow scissors to take home. And I just remember thinking, I cannot believe that this student does not have scissors, at his house. And so I wanted to create like a resource space. We are at a Title I school. And I realized that the storage room that you see on the right there was not the best use of space. And we began its conversion into a Spark Lab. And the students, by the way, in that picture that are helping me are the students who I first broke the news to that I was thinking about becoming a librarian. They were incredibly negative, but by the end of that class, we took all of their ideas and we formed a club called Lit Rich. And they are still a catalyst for change in our library and could not have done everything I'm about to show you without them. So you might be wondering, what is a Spark Lab? A Spark Lab is really a place for the students, and it is beloved at our school, as you can see by the quotes written on the graffiti wall down there. The Spark Lab gives me a peace of mind. It's great to be back in here. I feel so free. This was the first week of us opening this year. It was just flooded with comments that were just inspired naturally from the space. So students in this space, they can use it for individual use, something personal, maybe a project for their dad, or they want to make earrings, or they just want to make a character out of toilet paper rolls, which we've had happen, believe it or not. Or it can be used for an entire class. It really is just a place for students to think, create, and innovate. So what's in our Spark Lab? So we have a wall of supplies that you can see there. 90% of what we have for supplies has come from the community. I put out a wish list on Facebook, sent home letters to parents. If you have a parent-teacher organization at your school, and you want to do that because it's better than buying, because you will get the best and most random stuff. Oh, hi, Nancy.
Hi. Keep going.
Okay, can y'all hear me? I think when they put Nancy back on, it kicked me off, is what I'm thinking happened, because it said connection failure on my end. Anyway, yeah, I will see if we can maybe talk to Steve and Nancy and do a full record without all of the technical problems. But anyway, you guys are awesome. So you want to collect that random stuff. It's the best stuff that you'll get, like fake hair. Yes, Emily, I'm going to work on that because I know this is not ideal for any of us. Flowers, foam, toilet paper rolls, milk jugs, all of that stuff that most people would throw away, or you can't fathom a way for it to be used. It has been used in our Spark Lab. So yeah, Megan, I see you say it looks organized. It did not start that way. When we first started, we literally just had stuff on these shelves that happened to be in there. And eventually I got the idea, let me buy some bins and label it. And it makes it much easier for us to keep track of what we have, and then also for the students to find what they need. So sort and label everything is definitely a suggestion. On the far right, you'll notice our technology shelf. I like to have things sitting out because I feel like if you're in a box behind your circulation desk, it doesn't inspire students to try out new things. If it's there, it's accessible, but it's also controlled. We have lead innovators who will demo. And I realized quickly that I did not have to. It's a student space, and they keep it up and keep. And I'll type that here, is the school Instagram, the library Instagram. And @Wilson for the win is my Twitter account. Okay. So the coloring wall there, we just take, basic butcher paper and trace designs onto it. And it's just a giant coloring book. And we've started now using it to have the students make banners, like a community effort, like they've colored it in over however long. And we put a message on it of some sort in the hallway. So the one we have right now is like of ice cream cones, and it says, "Get the scoop on the Spark Lab," and it has our Instagram handle. So usually that on that coloring wall on the bottom left is where we will create something and then hang it out in the school for display. And then also we have our idea wall, which is there. It says like checkerboard, what are you creating? That's really cool because when students come in, my lead innovators, or if I'm in here, will say, "What are you making?" And we'll encourage them to put it on the wall. And it's just nice because students like to see what else has been made in the space throughout the week. All right. So we also in our Spark Lab have a central feature space, and we use this setup for our Spark Lab, but also on the floor, and I'll show you in a second. But it's a great space to have in a Spark Lab, and we use it for a variety of reasons. So right now, in the way it's pictured, it's set up as a coding station. So we have Scratch and Makey Makey. Scratch is up on the screen, and it's connected to a Makey Makey with all of the different items that are conductive. And so like gummy bears and marshmallows and things like that. We also have bookmarked on there 3D design sites like Thingiverse and Tinkercad. So it sort of prompts students to say, "Oh, what is that?" and realize that they can print it or they can learn how to design it. It's been used for group planning and creating, presentation practice for students, and also advertising challenges or new products. So it's just in the back corner of our space. And I wanted to share this because it's just a standard TV, which TVs now are so much cheaper than what flat screens were when they first came in. And if you buy a Chromebook and a wireless keyboard off of Amazon, which is, they're not super expensive, and connect it, then you have a giant computer there that you can use and students can work on and they can all see. Michelle, yes, that is what they're doing, what they're making in the Spark Lab. So, I mean, it's random. Like last week we had a girl make a bone replica for her health science class. And so it says, a bone, on there. But they make so many different things. And so it's interesting because people say, "How do you make a bone?" And then, it sort of prompts that, well, this is what they used. And it's just a great conversation piece for that. Okay. All right, other designated stations in our Spark Lab. We have a working space, a table donated by a student. You can see it in the bottom right. It's huge. It's great to have a nice big space. The students in the bottom right are making Frankenstein's monster representations for an English class. This is an instance where an entire class booked our Spark Lab, and also an instance where having all that weird stuff comes in handy, as you can imagine, for the monster of Frankenstein. We have a tool counter on the back that has like our sewing machine, 3D printer, a Silhouette Cameo, and an HP Sprout. All purchased through grant. Sewing machine was donated. And then we have a hot glue station and also a storage shelf on the back left in blue. You have to have a place to store your projects because otherwise it's chaos and students aren't going to finish everything in one setting, especially in a high school setting. You guys know if you're in the high school realm that, you know, things move very quickly. Bottom little picture there, those are our Ozobots, and we had an English teacher do a telling where they had to write a story and then make the robots act as characters and like create the entire set, and they did it in our Spark lab. Risk assessments, good question. I was worried about that too. In fact, when I first started thinking about hot glue gun, I thought, should I have students sign a waiver or something? But it hasn't been an issue. Like I said, the space is controlled in the sense that we have a lead innovator, which basically is my version of a library assistant, and I'll talk about that in a minute, that runs the space. And so they are very much active in the space, monitoring what's happening in the space and assisting students. The hot glue guns don't just stay out. The gun is out, but they have to ask for the glue. So we're always made aware when a student is going to use it. The sewing machine, they have to get certified before they are allowed to use it. So there's a sign that says, you know, please see Ms. Wilson for certification. And so I go through a process with them, and then also my lead innovator is there to assist if the sewing machine is going to be used. Oh, Elena, who is talking over? I'm not sure if you guys are hearing something I'm not, but I don't hear anything. Okay, so we soon realized, so that was our Spark lab. We soon realized that our Spark had become a flame, and we were not going to be able to confine what we were doing in this room to just this room. And so it spilled out onto our floor, which I think is great. Unlike the Spark lab, though, I learned that you want to keep what's on your floor changing, so students will come back to see what's new. And I began to realize this is important because we had our Little Bits table out at the very front, and at first they were all the rage. And then after a while, students kept walking by them, and they'll walk by the coolest thing just because it's something that they see every day. And so it's really important that you have a balance of fixed and rotating spaces. And you can either rotate the activity that is out, like changing out Little Bits for Cubelets or Connects for Legos, or you can rotate out what students are doing them by providing them with some sort of challenge or focus. Yes, it is amazing what the community will donate. People love to, like, if they clean out their supply cabinet, they love to have a place to put that where they feel good about themselves and they're not just throwing it away. So, all right, so the idea for our creation station was born. This is on our floor. And we got this idea from a field trip to a place called the Mess Hall. It's in Pensacola, and I'll give you the link in a little bit. But my lead innovators, we went on a trip, and they loved the idea of having a checkout place where students could order something like from a menu, and they act as the servers. So we serve up innovation, I guess. And we also wanted to make a base for our floor because some of the items we have out there need assistance. Students need assistance with them, or they require charging or checkout or setup. And so this was born. You'll notice here that we use the same TV setup that we have in the Spark Lab to promote challenges and what we have. And some of the things that we have done, like some of the challenges through our creation station, have been a flight challenge with paper airplane design. So the reason why you would need a lead innovator at our creation station there is because they help with calculating distance, time, and speed and keeping track of that. Our catapult challenge, we've done breakout EDUs through our creation station so that the students know that that's where they can sign up to come do like an escape room of sorts. And those have been really popular if you haven't done those yet. 3D pin. And then also if we put something out on our floor like a challenge, like you'll see at the bottom right, the black and white looking box. Uh-oh, you can't hear our presenter at all. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So the box there, that's an old, it's like a cardboard box that came from a movie theater. It had came remember the name of the movie. So we just painted it and cut it out and made a skee ball for our ollie. So if you have the ollie, or even if you don't, this is a really cheap, like high school level activity because they love it. And I feel like ollie and Sphero are reasonably priced, especially now. And it's so fun because they try to get it into the different point values. You can allow them to build ramps to do so, to modify things to do so. And so it's a really great activity for the ollie. But we run that through our creation station in this instance because it would be an activity on the floor. So it's just helpful to have another focal point. As I mentioned, the mess hall, one of the things that they had to do was to come up with one easy thing we can replicate in our space and then one harder exhibit to replicate in our space. And one of the things that we thought would be easy were these things called mess kits. And so I put the mess hall's website there. But what they are, they're rotating kits for student checkout, and they illustrate a science principle of some kind. And we include that information in the kit so that they can see it and read it and learn about it. And so students meet the challenge and they get to keep the item they make. So right now we have out the air cannon, and you can see the young man there that's working to make the air cannon, and you can see the inside of the cat pack. And those are just like little lunch like containers that I got off Amazon. And we also have out like the balancing pencil trick where they're trying to balance a pencil on their finger, which seems like an impossible task until they figure out why it works and how to make it work. So if you're interested in this at all, and you wouldn't have to package it like the mess kits, you could just have them out, like have a bin of balloons, some scissors or whatever, and have it out that way too. If you don't want to have, students have to check them in and out. But if you go to exploratorium.edu, that's actually San Francisco's Exploratorium, and you click on, go to that Explore Activities. They have so many of these, and they give you the exact science principle, the ingredients, everything. Really, all I do is take that into a Word document in the format I want, print them up, and buy the supplies. So it's really great. If they keep the item they make, do they pay for supplies? No, they do not pay for supplies. We don't let them, like in each kit, I have items to keep and items to return. So like they would, for example, in this kit right here, they would return the tape and the scissors and the green plastic ball. And the pencil, really. They wouldn't need the pencil, but they would keep their cannon, which is made of the balloon, the cup, and the foam ball. So they would still have a working product, but they're not taking anything that's overly expensive. Those little cups, foam balls, and balloons are incredibly cheap. So it hasn't hurt us in terms of cost. Okay, some other fixed stations that we have I saw you guys talking about the Kiva planks earlier, so that's great. I love Kiva, and the one that I like to start, the one that I've started with, and it's really the only one I felt I've needed, is the Kiva contraptions kit. It's on Amazon for like $80, but you get 400 Kiva planks, plus the balls, plus the book with different challenges and things like that. So to me, $80 with a lot of possibilities is a really good use of that money. I'm not buying like the thousands and thousands of piece kits, off of Kiva itself. So try Amazon if you haven't already, but we changed out the challenge there too. So try to build a funnel, build a slide, that kind of thing. Students love this. They get really involved. That funnel actually reached, well above that sign area, and it worked. And then we've had students try different designs with it. So they're great. The key there with that is, I would say, put a challenge out. Because sometimes students look at it and they're like, so give them a challenge, give them a focus. We also have a puzzle place, and this was an idea I also got from the mess hall. When I took my students there, so many of them sat at this table that just had tons of logic and puzzles games, and that is not at all where I would have focused my time, but they loved it. And so I bought several. I should have listed them here for you, but I'll say them out now. The Perplexus Epic is one. These are all available on Amazon. The Soma Cube, let's see what else is over there. The Adams Cube is on the table. The Tower of Hanoi, it's spelled Hanoi. So on a puzzle place, they're incredibly popular. Do you have age requirements? Toddlers or youths? We are a high school, so 9th through 12th grade is our target area. Okay. Also Vex IQ, that's in the bottom left. This is actually the middle school kit. The middle school kit is different from the high school kit. because the middle school kit, everything can snap together, whereas the high school kit, you have to use tools and screws and all of that. But it works great for us because they can build their own robot, but also because we set out these challenges. And it can be as simple as the one you see here, where the object is to get the blue blocks in the blue zone and the red blocks in the red zone. And it's not as easy to do as you might think because of that ramp there. So this has been a really crucial piece, I think, in helping us get started a robotics club at our school. This is our first year we're participating in a robotics club, and we've started to garner interest from the things that we have in our innovation center. I also put on here as a fixed station a tech space. I didn't put a picture, but the very front, we change out, like if we're gonna have cubelets or little bits or whatever technology item we wanna put up there. And sometimes we do non-tech stuff too. It's just at the very front of our innovation center, and that's something that we change out frequently. All right, so I've talked a little bit about our lead innovators. Basically, they're my library assistants, is what it is. And they sign up for a class called Guided Workplace, or OJT, on-the-job training through the school. And then they apply to be a lead innovator with a Google form. And then once they are in my class, I see those same students every day during their assigned period. And I usually have about 5 or 6 a period. That's the max that we need. And they learn everything from the ground up. And I train them for 3 weeks before we open the Innovation Center. And a lot of people are surprised by that. They open their library the first day of school. We don't. We take 3 weeks. And yes, I will try to get you a list of the items that were mentioned. They were different puzzles and like logic games. So they learn everything from the ground up. So they learn how to use all of the technology that is in here. So that takes a lot of time. They learn how to 3D design throughout the year, and as we go, and I give them charms that we 3D print as they get certified in various areas. So that really keeps them motivated. So an example, at Christmas, I have them each design an ornament in 3D, and then we actually print it for them, put it on a tree, and that prompts the challenge for the rest of the student body to make a Christmas ornament. So they've done the challenge. They know now how to do it, and now we're challenging the school to do it. And they can see some examples, get some ideas, and they also have their peers there to help them and show them how to do it. So they're really crucial to the space because I could not, we've used Tinkercad mostly. I know there are other ones. I know Thingiverse has a program to design in. I know SketchUp and Blender are good as well. But Tinkercad I like because they can make an account and they can, it walks them through the step in the design process. So I think that's really great. Yeah, Morphe app is great too. I've heard of it. We have it downloaded on our iPads. I just haven't quite figured out the whole draw to print conversion thing yet, but I do want to try that out, Deb. So they are really the catalyst. They are the ones that run the Innovation Center. If a student comes in and they want to learn how to code a Sphero, I'm pretty much hands off at that point because they know how to run it, and I let them do it. And I think that if you try, or if I tried to teach every student that came in to experiment everything, I wouldn't be able to do the other aspects of my job. And so really, it's beneficial for everybody. All right, last couple things on gaining student and teacher buy-in. And I know that this is a problem in some schools, and then in some schools it's not. But I will say one way to combat that is through events. Events get students in your space and excited about the space, and it allows teachers to see their students engaged in activity and to see that sending them or bringing them is a valuable use of class time. So if you're fighting that battle, I would say host events. And on the right there are the events that we do every year. And this is my 3rd year starting, so I'm gonna act like I've done it forever, but we do the Global Cardboard Challenge, Coding for a Cookie, a Black Culture Fest, and Shakespeare Festival. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what each of those entails. So the Global Cardboard Challenge, you've probably heard of it. If you haven't, you have to watch the Canes Arcade video, link at the bottom. But I've seen it done a lot, but I've never seen a high school version. And so last year when we decided to do it, I was a little nervous, but these are some things that I have discovered make for a very, very successful Global Cardboard Challenge week. And I will be putting this in a blog post pretty soon. But we do the event for an entire week. High school time is short. And so I think it works well to run it for a week. We do sort all the materials by shape and texture, so all the different types of cardboard, so there is some semblance of organization. If you haven't heard of, I'm probably saying it wrong, but Makito screws and saws, they're great. They're a company out of Australia, but I believe now as well. I ordered them from Australia. But they are just these little plastic screws that work with cardboard very well. And then they also have saws that are safe to cut. So, I mean, they're great for an elementary level and also a high school level. So whenever you're doing your event, you want to make sure you have signs for projects that are in progress, because like I said, some projects will start and they will take the entire week to complete. And so you want to make sure you have some sort of sign like project in progress with their name and whatnot, so that their project doesn't get thrown away, because that's nothing discouraging, more discouraging than that. One big thing that we had was a signature board. You can see kind of the end of it in the right picture. It just says, what are you, pictures there of some ideas, and then students would write what they're making on that board. Again, it just makes it interactive. They get ideas. It engages them in the process, so I think it's great. We also have a vending gumball machine that I bought. I use it for different things in our library, but we let them vend an idea. So if they're like, I want to make something, but I don't know what to make, they can vend the idea through there. The skee ball game that you see there is an incentive we use. I had 2 lead innovators build it. I said, build something to launch our cardboard week. That's what they came up with. And what we decided to do was, if you made something, you got 5 chances, you know, to gain a certain number of points on their skee ball game and earn candy. And so that was a really big incentive. We actually had teachers even coming down, you know, to play the really cool cardboard skee ball game. So it was great. And then lastly, of course, you want a place to display the projects afterward, because students get really proud of the things that they make. We do an event in December called Coding for a Cookie, and it's inspired by the international event Hour of Code. And so we do it during Computer Science Week. But what we do for Coding for a Cookie is we showcase all of our technology. So our little bits, Ozobots, anything that we have, makey that can relate to coding, we showcase it. And we have classes sign up, and we have a variety of stations set up that students can participate in. And then lead innovators and then my library club students run the stations and put stickers on their ticket that they can redeem for a cookie. So some of them that we've done with Sphero are a book maze. You can see over there on the right top quadrant, there is bowling with Sphero. So we just did that with cardboard, old books, and then the bowling pins I got from the dollar store. We have painting with Sphero, where they have to, you know, program a painting. In the bottom right, we have, they were making with Scratch, which is really fun to do. And, but playing them with Makey. So we made like a DJ spin table, so they would code their own beat, and then they would play it with the Makey technology. So there's a lot more that we do for Hour of Code, but because the session was supposed to be a short one, I didn't include it on there. I need to do a blog post on it, because it's definitely been a success from the first year that we've done it, and so we continue to do it. Shakespeare Festival and Black Culture Festival are making events that we have done and learning events that we've done that are not as high tech. So, you know, you see there you have the Globe Theater made out of old Chromebook boxes. The students can make a crown, a 3D paper flower, a sword, an old-fashioned wax sealed letter, an original Shakespearean sentence, which is what they're doing on the graffiti wall there. They could also learn to fence, do the dance from Romeo and Juliet, play Shakespeare-themed games that my students made out of supplies from our Spark Lab. So the Silhouette Cameo is what we use for the cutouts of the flower and the crown. It's really great for that kind of thing, to print off objects that can be converted into like 3-dimensional paper shapes. I did write a blog post on this one, because after the event, I got so many questions and emails from librarians around the country. And I said, I just need to put this in one place so that I don't continuously repeat all this information, and also so I don't forget. And so it's up there at the top. It says, you know, medium.com / @Alisha Wilson. That article on the Shakespeare Festival is there. I know in high school, everybody pretty much reads Shakespeare. And so it's a really good, I think, activity to do, and your English teachers to get involved into the space. Okay, on the right, Black Culture Festival, we did that for Black History Month. So students made collages of Romare Bearden, like Romare Bearden inspired collages, I should say, Kentine patterns. What time are these activities done? During class time. Okay, so for the events, actually really with everything, it's run throughout the school day. And students just send teachers on passes or they come on their lunch. When we do events, I typically will open it up to teachers if they want to sign up like an entire class. And so, I can only take so many classes in the space. And then I will also leave a certain amount open for walk-ins. So for students whose teachers, aren't going to bring them because maybe they're a math class, but they really want to come sometime throughout the day when they have a free period. So you just really, depending on your space, how many you feel like could fit safely in the space. We have had to turn people away at every event that we've done, which I think is a great sign, but it does establish your Innovation Center as sort of a learning hub of the school. And it lets teachers really see like your vision. Like students aren't just coming in there to play, they are actually engaging and doing something other than sitting on their phone. So I hope that answered your question, Leslie. All right, so results. Before the change, 2014, 2015, I was still teaching English that year. I checked the librarians' previous records, and there were 9,000 individual student visits, and we have a population of 1,800 students at our school. Year one, we had 21,000 individual student visits that year. So we really increased the number, which I was very happy about. And we also increased our book checkouts that year by 2,000 books. And that's just because more students are in the space, and you can't sell to people that you don't have, So I think that was really crucial. Year two, which was the end of last year, we had 24,000 individual student visits. So this is not counting any classes that have come in, any classes that have booked the space. This is just students walking in on their own individually during class time that have come to visit our space. And I just wanted to share that because it's something I'm really proud of, because that was really my goal, was to make it to where libraries are not lame. And so I feel like all of the things I've just mentioned are ways that I've been able to do that. I have to mention this, of course, that the books in a makerspace, in our Spark Lab, we have this shelf made out of gutter, and with different books that kind of relate to things in the space. And then also, you'll see under our programming station there, we put books, Scratch programming, and there's also one on video game design, because that's a challenge we launch sometimes, is designing your own video game in Scratch. So anytime I can pair, a book with what I'm doing, I do it. Just because I do think, of course, you want to still emphasize the importance of literacy. And like I said, our circulation numbers for checkouts have gone up. So I don't feel like, you're either a makerspace person or a book person. I really feel like you can do both. How do you count individual student visits? I use a Google form. So the other librarian before me just had a sign-in sheet by hand, but I actually made a Google form, and we have like sign-in computers at the front when they walk in, that they sign in, and they also tell me the purpose for their visit in that space. They can click. So it's really great too. It's a great thing for the teachers to be able to see when their students sign in, and it's great for us to be able to look at the data. So Google Form is where it's at. Okay, so I don't know if Nancy already did her part. I guess Nancy, chat if you're on. I don't know if you need any more time, but the special keyboard, it's just a wireless keyboard. So you can either do a Bluetooth keyboard, or you can do one that has like a little toggle that you plug into like a USB. So either way, share a template of your Google form. Yeah, I can do that. I'm not sure what the best way for me to do that is, but I will see, Michelle, what I can do. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter, I can, and with your information, I will send it to you for sure. Yes, the line does get long, especially at lunch, because that's our busiest time. So we have 2 signing computers now, and then also my students at the desk have the form on each of their computers. So if the line gets long, they offer to take the next person and go ahead and sign them in. It's not a long sign-in process, but it's a good problem to have. Okay, make sure your TV is a smart TV that connects to Wi-Fi then. I don't believe it's not a smart TV. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just a regular, like a regular flat screen TV. How we make it a smart TV is we buy something called a Chrome bit. And I'll type that in the chat. You can also buy, there's another version, another type you can buy. It's not called a Chrome bit because we have some, I can't think of what it's called right now. believe the Chromebook's the cheapest one, but it converts your TV into a computer so that you can use it for that function. The lunch hour, students get 25 minutes for lunch. So there are 4 like rotations of lunch, but they have 25 minutes each. I'm hoping I didn't miss a question. Let's see. How do I have time for lunch? I have a person that comes in, they relieve me for lunch. So they come in for that 25 minutes and I leave and go eat lunch, because if I stayed, I would never get to eat. You're right. So they relieve me. And the reason why I can leave like that and let the Innovation Center still run itself is because of my library assistants. They, by the time we open, they are trained to completely run the Innovation Center on their own. Can they eat in the library? No, I do not let them eat in the library. I know there's mixed feelings about that. My main reason is because we don't have a consistent custodial habit of vacuuming and cleaning the space. And so for that reason, we don't let them eat in the library, because otherwise it would be kind of gross. So how do they do that in 25 minutes? I'm not sure what you mean by do that. Like some of the things they come in and do, and then they'll come back in other periods. The events and stuff are not, like, they're not 25 minutes, it's a full event, but you can get a lot done in 25 minutes. Sometimes they don't eat. Or, you know, some students, I don't know, they hate the cafeteria and they're regulars in here every day, or they eat in another period, or they eat in between classes. Yeah, same with me, never vacuumed. I hear you. The library assistants are students. They are students. They have to be juniors or seniors. And like I said, we call them lead innovators. When I first pitched that idea, my very first year, I said, how do you guys feel about being called lead innovators? I thought they would think it was incredibly cheesy, and they loved it. And now it's like, you know, a badge of honor that they wear. You know, they have a special lanyard, and, you know, they're like, are you a lead innovator? Yeah, I'm a lead innovator. It's really cute and amazing, because they really embrace it. So study halls. We don't have like designated study hall time, but we do have students who will come in just to study. So, or just to read or something like that, but we don't have like a designated study hall. Okay. Any other questions I can answer for you guys? I know I have a lot to do in terms of writing up details to prevent us from reinventing the wheel, and I will try to do that and push that content out on my Twitter page. No, my student assistants, they are signed up for a class called Guided Workplace, or OJT, on the job training. So there are 2 options. It's actually a class that they can take once they've met all of their like required credits. And they have to apply to be a lead innovator. And I do that because I want it to be a prestigious thing. I want them to be proud of what they're doing. And so they're assigned to me for a certain period. So every day during first period, I am someone's class. I am 5 or 6 students. They have me as their teacher. I do their grade, and so on. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I have about 32 total lead innovators per year, about 5 per period. I'm trying to see if I missed any questions. Yes, I do still teach citations and website evaluation. Actually, something else I've done is we started a writing lab in partnership with our local college. I just didn't focus on that in here because it's not really makerspace related, but yes, still very much on research. And so shy with the products again. I think you mean maybe, hold on. This should be recorded as messy as it was. And then also, someone asked for my Twitter handle. It's at Wilson for the win again. And then our school library Instagram. If you want to kind of creep on there and see what we do or some things that we've done, it is at the Cat Lounge. But yes, thank you guys for everything. I know some of you wanted the puzzles from today's session. Aristotle's, I'll try to write these up. Aristotle's number puzzle. Good. Thank you guys for the wonderful feedback. This has been really great to share. Plus it's trying to list as many as I can off the top of my head for the, but if you just Google like logic puzzles, challenge puzzles on Amazon, so many pop up. They're cheap and it's a popular station. So thank you guys. I'm not really sure what to do from here since I've lost Nancy and Steve. I think they were gonna to close out the chat. So I'll see if I can connect with them. And if you have any other questions, you know, please, you know, hit me up on Twitter. And I'm trying to be more active on there and connect with you and help in any way I can. So I think that they will, if you register for the session, I believe they'll send you something after the session. That's usually how webinars work, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm with you, Elena. It stressed me out more than I would have liked. So okay. In the recording and then close the session. In the recording. All right, guys, I'm signing off.